Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the VeVe Vantage Podcast. This is a very special episode where we spend 2 hours. That's how you know it's going to be good. We spent 2 hours talking to a good friend of ours, a former guest, and a very lucky VeVeVerse Beta user, Stevo, on his experience actually spending several hours every single day using the VeVeVerse, building his homes, learning from others, and exploring the other capability of the VeVeVerse that the majority of us don't have access to. It is pretty mind-blowing and crazy. Did you know that you can fly or teleport to other people's homes and even do voice chat? Do you know what kind of operating system you would need to run this software? Is it Windows or Apple OS? Do you know that you can potentially have animals, like pet animals, following you around in your home? Or the ability to get people to visit you or design your own VeVeVerse homes? Or the potential business opportunities that can be created because of this metaverse experience? It is pretty mind-blowing. We'll talk about all of that today, and we also analyze the recent pumps in OMI price and some interesting collectibles such as the Partner's Tattoo or the Avengers Tower or the R2-D2 animated or even the house from the Up movie. One thing to keep in mind is nothing we say is financial advice because we spend a lot of time talking about the role of the OMI tokens in the VeVeVerse and the future development of the product. And, you know, this is the biggest product ever of VeVe, and a lot of these developments are subject to change, so have a very low expectation. Again, nothing we mentioned is financial advice. I really enjoyed it. We talked to almost midnight. It's 2 hours. It is a 2 hours podcast. That's how you know it is going to be good and it's going to be worth your time. This is an episode you do not want to miss. Let's get to it. Stevo, thank you so much for joining us, and we are super excited to talk about a VeVeVerse with you. You are one of the lucky beta users to get access to the VeVeVerse, and I noticed that for the past week you were always in it several hours a day, so it must be a lot of fun to you. I remember texting you at like 1 or 2 in the morning, and you were still building stuff there. So I'm pretty excited to discuss everything that you have done and what you think about it.
Yeah, I'm super happy that I actually got chosen to get in. I was kind of surprised that I got chosen to begin with, but yeah, I do mess around in the vaults quite a bit. So like I've had a couple of nice pictures of Disney Gold stuff in the big circle. Another one like the Valentine's Day heart out of Disney Golden Moments. So I have some cool stuff, and sometimes when I'm in there, it takes 30 minutes to an hour, sometimes more, just to finish a showroom. And obviously the showroom settings, they're clunky. Like you can just run into mistakes all the time. So it wasn't as fun as, like, sometimes it's just not fun when you're just like messing up and then the collectible goes under, it'll go underneath the vault or it'll go get stuck in another collectible, and then there's no redo button. So like if you made like an accidental mistake, it's gonna set you back like 10 minutes because now you gotta go back and try to figure out where it went. And so sometimes it's just clunky, but now that we've got the VeVeVerse, it's infinitely more fun. It's just there's so many more things you can do, and you can use a mouse, so it's everything is precision.
So let's walk back to the very beginning of it, because I would say maybe 95% of VeVe users or even 99% of VeVe users don't have VeVe beta access. Oh, sorry, VeVeVerse beta access. Even I and Mr. V don't have access to it. So can you walk us through step by step? So the moment that you got in, what did you see first, and how did that whole experience started for you?
So obviously, all of us that got in, we got emails and we had to like sign NDAs. So there's things we can't. There's some things we just can't discuss, and we can't show images, show videos, or anything. So we have to consent to not be shown stuff. So Dan, this one night, I think it was I want to say last Friday night, he hosted a video stream where we were able to ask him questions, and he was showing us, like, basically giving us a quick rundown, like a 45-minute rundown of all the features and all the things you can do. So he's teaching us how to use it. After he answered all of our questions and kind of showed us how to do everything, then he gave us the link to go ahead and download it. And some people are wondering if it runs on a browser. It doesn't. You download the app onto your computer, so it's like a program. So it'll be a standalone program or app, and just it'll be run on your desktop, and it's like in green. It says VeVeVerse. So that's partially, I think, why people were like buying up those green logos because I guess they viewed it as like the VeVeVerse brand. So after that, we finally got in, and literally all of us were on that night instantly. For I think like all of us were on for minimum like 4 to 5 hours. So like
Wow.
that first night, I think like the Zoom call was at like 9 p.m. or like the stream. It finished around 10, and I myself, I didn't go to bed. I think till like 2:30 in the morning, and I gotta work like 9:30 to 6 every day. So I'm just like sacrificing sleep, left and right because I just want to play in this damn thing. We're waiting 2 years on this. We finally got our hands on it, so we got to get in. It was a lot of fun, and it still is fun. Like literally every day, because we have in the VB Discord, we have a channel for us to discuss things. So Dan will give us like updates. We send in like feedback and reports on like things that aren't working, things that are, and what can be improved. Because that's basically the whole purpose of the beta. Is they just want us to basically try to break the system, figure out what's broken, mess with everything, to let them know what collectibles are not performing the way they should, which ones aren't displaying correctly. So that's kind of the whole purpose of the beta, because I saw some comments on Twitter like, oh, they're only choosing, moon boys and people who defend the company. It's just like, well, they want us to get feedback, so it's not very smart for them to bring in a bunch of haters to come in and then just talk trash because things aren't working well. So I understand people are like kind of upset that it seems like a certain group of people are being allowed in, but it's for the right reasons. It's not. I don't think they're just like choosing their favorites just to let in. So
I don't have
uh,
access. Mr. V doesn't have access either. So
Yeah, no, I don't. Hey, Stevo, quick question before you move forward. Was there any kind of were there any specifications in terms of the devices that they recommended that you use? Like,
well, basically a PC or a Mac, like it doesn't work on a tablet or a phone. Basically, just PC and MacBooks. That's all. That's all we were told so far. Because there's two different versions. You can download it for Windows or download it for Mac.
okay, and they didn't say this would best be viewed on if you have X amount of memory
yeah.
or minimum.
Uh, yeah, they didn't actually give us like any recommendations on it because like there's multiple settings. So there's like a low quality setting, a medium quality setting, like a regular setting, like the standard one, and then there's high quality. So most of us just run it in high quality. So I think most of us who are in like have decent computers or like it's just able to handle it. And I saw someone in there who has they said that they have like a MacBook that's like 5 years old and they're running it. So it seems like you can run it in high quality on like most machines. And obviously it'll help if you have an updated graphics card and you have a lot of memory and RAM. So but it seems like everyone's been able to run it, pretty much fine. As far as just like getting the viewers to run a little faster, it might help if you use it in normal mode because when you load in, you gotta wait probably like 3 to 5 minutes, like depending on how long or how many like things are in your home space. So the amount of collectibles you have, that's going to determine how long it takes to load because it's got to load everything all at once before you can start walking around. Because like you'll choose like the arrow to walk and you can't do anything. You'll just sit there. But I just run it in high quality. I haven't had any issues.
You said that so you walk in, is that like a first person kind of thing, or is that third person and you have an avatar?
So yeah, we have an avatar. You can use the standard one that just like comes with the app. It just looks kind of funky. It's not really nice looking. Or you can go to Ready Player Me, and then you make your own avatar, and then you can just copy that link over, bring it into the VeVeVerse, and then use the
Oh,
Ready Player Me avatar that you customized. And I heard Sanjay say that he had a custom one that he had on Spatial, and he like paid for like the nice clothes and like upgraded his avatar really nice. So you can do that if you already have a Ready Player Me avatar. It's literally just plug and play. Just copy the link that you have there and just import it right over to Beaver so it loads instantly. And yeah, you just drop it into your home space. So it'll put you like, because you get like the option of a home space or an empty space. An empty space is just like the empty space from the showroom where there's nothing. It's literally just emptiness. There's no buildings, no skybox, no nothing. It's just like you'll just build everything from scratch. And not many people use that. I don't recommend using it The home space, like the original one you get, that's good. It gives you like a big home space in the sky. It has like a platform on each side, and you can also add more home spaces. So you can actually
Mm.
go in, you can take a home space, go into your content library, choose home space again, and then you can really put another home space, adjacent to the one you have. You can blow it up so it's really big. You can
Wait,
make
so
it
you
super small.
basically you can see two home spaces simultaneously?
As far
Uh,
as like the
uh,
actual home, yeah,
wow.
you can have like, you can have like 50 of them if you want, and you can just, you can blow up a bunch of home spaces so you have like homes across from each other if you want.
Wow.
I
Damn.
haven't added multiple home spaces. What I've done is I like the platforms. They have these cool platforms
Hmm.
that you can just basically attach. So I have like four platforms that attach to my main center home space, and then you can just like go put more stuff on the like an external platform that's out to the side. So like I just have a bunch of platforms surrounding it, and then you can build, on top of that. Because the actual home space that you have with the home building, it's not that large, so you can still use it and put stuff in there, but it's not that big to where you want to jam a whole bunch of stuff in there. And I like having the stuff outside because then you can just like have it in the sky. You can like take a bunch of cool pictures where you have like the sky in the background, or you can have really cool overhead views because that's what a lot of people are doing, and it's a lot of fun. Is you do these like overhead views from like behind someone's shoulder or looking down at like an action scene. So I think that's one of the coolest things is because you couldn't really do that in the showroom. You can't just like in the showroom on the app, you can't just go below the showroom and take pictures from from the bottom. You can't go up and take downwards facing pictures. You couldn't really do that. And it was really time consuming unless you built buildings that were like, below the showroom, then you can kind of look down. But with the VeVeVerse, since you can walk around, you can fly around. So if you fly around, you can literally just look from any angle you think of, any setting, and you're pretty much good to go. You can take really really cool pictures up close, far away. It's honestly awesome. Like I don't that's why we're all getting lost in it. It's just there's so much you can do.
So, Stevo, you mentioned that a lot of you guys were up late working on and creating on designing, laying out your VeVeVerse. As you guys got to check out each other's VeVeVerse spaces, what was the transition like? Did your avatar like fly? Did was it just like
Well,
how was the
well,
transition
yeah.
shift?
So you have different modes. You can walk, you can fly, and you can do it in first or third person. So technically, yeah, your avatar can just fly, like literally in the air, and you can fly around. But the thing is, these spaces are all individual. So let's say I want to join your home space. I have to exit my space entirely. It'll kick me back to like the VeVeVerse lobby. And then everyone's lobbies that have sent you invites, they're going to be on this main page. So I'll be able to see, I'll see Mr. V's space. I can click on and go in. I'll see Will's space. If I want, I can choose to go there. But you can't run multiple like spaces at once. So if I want to join your space, I can't just continue to build mine. Like I already exited mine, so you can only go to one space at a time. I'm not exactly sure what the future holds as far as like combining spaces or like being able to do multiple at once. But for now, we just go into one space at a time. I'll go to the main lobby, click on yours, and then it'll bring me into yours. And then I can walk around and I can see what you got. I can follow you. And then it'll put me on your camera angle. So if you're walking around the VeVeVerse and I put mine in follow mode, I'll just be looking through your eyes and then you can show me around. So if you want to give
What?
people, yeah, so if you want to give people a tour, you could just you could see it through their eyes on your screen. So
Wow. Oh my God.
So, did you try all of those modes?
it's like the flying and the walking, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, and then as you get
Yeah,
to the other people's vaults or excuse me, VeVeVerse.
yeah. I've tried all of it. So like yeah, I've done walking and flying. I
Of
prefer just
course.
the yeah. I mean I've tried
Obviously.
everything. Yeah, but I like flying around is the quickest. The walking is kind of slow, and it's just really fast to just fly because you can just fly and then hold shift and then it'll make you fly even faster. So you can fly to places quickly. You can even double click on an area and it'll just zap you right there. So if I see
Wow.
the partner statue on the other side of the map, I can just double click it and then it'll just zap me right over there instantly. So there's ways to get around really fast, so you don't have to tediously walk or run or like fly over. Sometimes you can just literally double click and it'll just take you straight to the exact space you clicked. So I do that pretty often to get around. As far as joining other people's spaces, yeah, I've done the follow mode because I like doing that because sometimes you don't even know where the user is when you join people's spaces, because you can just join people's spaces. You sent me an invite at any time. So they might be building something and I don't even know where they are. So I'll just click follow user and then it'll just bring you straight to their camera view.
When you do get to that other user's VeVeVerse, is that the only time that you can communicate with them? Or can you use a microphone? Can you chat while staying in your independent VeVe?
Okay, I see what you're saying. No, when you're in independent, when you're in your own space, yeah, you can't like send a message or speak to them. But that's like a feature that's coming. Like we'll be able to talk to each other in the future and be able to send messages, and we'll be able to like each other's spaces. Because right now we can't like interact with a space and like put comments or likes on it. But apparently that's coming. That's coming soon, and they know it. Like they know we want that. So that's already been discuss with us. It'll come. But when someone joins your space, their microphone is instantly on. They can just talk to you the second they join in. They can really just be like, "Hey, Mr. V, you there? Hey, I just joined your space. You want to show me around?" Microphone's instantly on. No, you can turn on your microphone or turn it off. You can also mute someone. So if maybe someone has a hot mic and they're annoying you while they're walking on your VeVeVerse, you can mute them. And then there's also a chat box. So if you don't feel like speaking, you can just text to each other, like just type to each other in a little chat box. So you have both those options.
Wow, what does flying look like in there?
Well, you could do it in first or third person. So whatever you want to do, I do everything in first person. I don't really care to like go behind the avatar and see it behind him.
Like do you, so from a third person perspective, do you see your avatar actually like flying, or it's more like teleporting from one location to the other?
No, I mean if you're in third person, like the avatar will like he'll fly in the air, like he'll literally fly.
Oh wow. So
yeah.
fly, is it like a jumping motion, or like fly like a Superman kind of fly?
It's a little weird. No, there's no jumping. Dan knows we want that bad. He's been asked about that like 50 times already because we want to be able to jump. But it just kind of just like it'll take your avatar, it'll put it maybe at like a 270-degree angle almost, and then he'll have like his hands to the side and then fly.
Oh,
So it does
like Superman flies.
a little bit,
Kinda.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's at a little bit of an angle, and then yeah, he'll fly.
Wow.
I mean, I just never do it because I want everything in my view. So I'm always in first person as it is, because I just want to be able to see, my own stuff. Or if I'm visiting someone, I don't want to like have the avatar in the way. I like just, have everything wide open so I can see what's in someone's space.
So within those spaces, like say if you have your house or whatever, and you were talking about adding multiples within the place, do you have the option to remove things as well? Like, so say everything comes prepackaged, like you have the four walls, a door, and then your ceiling and then your floor, right? Do you have the ability to remove walls?
Not from the home space. No, I can't. I can't like alter the home space like that. I can edit it in a way. So like, because we have simple shapes, we can do whatever we want with simple shapes. So if I don't like the way the wall looks or the floor looks, 'cause I think the standard floor is like wood. I have it open right now. Well, actually, I copied over mine. The standard floor I'm pretty sure is like wood inside the home space. So what I did is I took a marble floor and I put it on a cube. And since you can smush the cube to like, within like half an inch if you want, because it'll come as a cube and it'll look really big, but you have the ability to scale in any direction. So I can smush the thing flat to make walls or make floors, and then you can scale it proportionally so that it covers the entire floor. and it'll just take you a few seconds because you gotta like, push left, push up, and just keep on like moving the floor around until it fits everything. And then you can edit the material of like the cubes or like, your now your new floor, your wall. And there's all these cool settings that come prepackaged. So you can choose like, a metallic shiny floor. You can choose whatever color you want because you can really pull up a color palette and then go color the wall or color the floor, whatever you want. I have like my main home space. I have like a marble, floor, and then I have it with a red color and then like metallic shine to it. So it's pretty cool. I did that like the very first night too, and I was like a lost little puppy on the first night. I had literally no clue what I was doing because I've never messed with any metaverse space, never messed with spatial, never messed with Essential Land or Roblox, any of that stuff. So the first couple of days, I'll admit, it was pretty overwhelming for me because I had no clue what the hell I was doing. So I was asking people questions nonstop and just trying to mess with settings because I didn't really know what the hell I was doing. Like I knew how to like, place items. I had an idea how to use the shapes, but things weren't registering for me as far as like how to work with the lighting, how to edit the material on the cubes and stuff like that. So that stuff, I think for new users, like when you guys get in, it's gonna take, probably like a good day or two, and then you guys will like after a few hours of messing stuff, you'll be able to pick it up. But if you're brand new to it, it's gonna be a little overwhelming at first. You're not gonna really know what to do. But it's cool. Everyone in the beta channel has been really helpful because the channel has been growing. So there's a lot more users that not like a lot more, but it seems like a couple get added like every day. And everyone's helping each other out. So people just constantly post pictures and post questions, and Metaverse Life is in there. And this dude is an absolute beast. Like he can do whatever is possible. He already knows he can do literally everything. So I've seen his face. This guy's just next level with everything he can do, and then he's helpful on top of that. So I've sent him tons of questions, and he sent me video recordings back, answering my questions and showing me what to do. So really like all the people in that channel. They're being super, super helpful, and we're all just rooting for each other. Like we're all just been waiting on this forever, and now that's here. We're just trying to help each other out so we can all become like good creators.
So as you guys are designing your spaces, you mentioned that you could copy like different rooms, but are you able to copy the collectibles, or is that only reflected based on what you currently have in your vault, if that makes sense? So like if you have 3 Groots, for example, and you've set them in your space in the VeVeVerse, could you like copy and paste them around the area?
No, you're not. You're not supposed to be able to copy and paste collectibles. You're only supposed to be able to display what you actually own, which makes sense. They don't want like because obviously they don't want people to actually display what they own. It wouldn't make sense to have someone put up like 15 partner statues and then they only have one. So that wouldn't that wouldn't make sense because it's giving off the false impression of someone's collection. So yeah, you can only display what you own. As far as like the shapes and stuff though, those are things you can duplicate. So because like I built like a like a black room on the outside where I have like my platinum moments. So I just built one wall, painted it black, and then I just duplicated that wall like 4 times over so I could have like a wall on each side. And then I did the same for the floor and ceiling. I just duplicated it. And that's like it's infinitely quicker. And that's what like you basically just have to that'll be one of the first things you learn is duplicating shapes. And that'll make the process go so much faster when you're trying to build something that you need multiple items of the same thing. And then one thing that we're asking, which we're pretty sure it's coming pretty soon, is the ability to duplicate like multiple shapes at once, and that'll be pretty cool. So once I can duplicate multiple shapes at once, then that whole room I just made, that black box room with the platinum moments, I'd be able to just duplicate that whole thing. So in the future, when we are able to do that, I think that'll be next level. So can't wait.
So I can see in the background in the mirror behind you the VeVeVerse. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Shit, that was possible. Yeah, I forgot about that.
I had to mess with you a little bit. So you've touched on shapes and duplicating them, changing the colors, only being able to use what you currently own, and displaying them in the VeVeVerse. You've touched on how the character, how your avatar can move. within your space, and then also to the next space by going to the lobby and shifting over. What has surprised you the most since experimenting with?
Hands down, I think like literally 90% of all beta users agree the collectible quality is absurdly better. Literally every single collectible is night and day difference from the app to the VeVeVerse. So I think that's the first thing we were all blown away by, because I'm pretty sure the first item I put down was partner statue, and I put Elsa down. And when I first saw it, I'm like, holy shit! I'm like, this stuff is extremely crisp and clear. There's no like pixelated looks to it, because on the app sometimes from certain angles you'll see a little bit like a pixelated look, and you're wondering like why it doesn't look as like clean as it should on the app, and especially when or on the VeVeVerse, and especially when you have in high quality mode, everything looks extremely clean, extremely high quality. So when these guys were saying the whole time, because Dan and Dave were constantly saying we're building premium, high quality, licensed digital collectibles. Now it fully makes sense. This stuff is truly premium, everything. So even some of the, I know some of the one, the main one I was bringing up is Thor, because Thor on the app, I think you guys agree, it doesn't really look too good. It looks a little cartoonish, and it doesn't look as good as like the legendary Thor should. It should look a lot better. When I went to the VeVeVerse and I opened it up, he looked way better, and I was like really surprised. I'm like, hey, he doesn't have like this cartoon, playful toy look. Like he actually looks premium. The shadows on his face actually look good, and it just everything looked infinitely better. I was like, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a lot of fun, because now that it feels like everything is unlocked as far as quality goes. That's the thing everyone's most blown away by. So
With you mentioned Thor as the example, as the highlight. Now, are you strictly referring to the secret rare collectible that's animated, or have you been able to see the other rarities all the way down to the common? And could you touch on that if you have?
it's a good question. So while I'm answering that, I'm going to pull up a comment, because to be honest, I haven't pulled up a comment Thor. I just put my secret rare one because I wanted to it's just like first reaction is just grab the best looking one, or grab like the the best rarity and put it up. Pretty sure it's gonna be the same quality though. I'm assuming it'll be the exact same. So no, I didn't look at the rarities of all of them. So I'll do that right now, and I guess if you like a live reaction, it takes maybe 10 seconds for things to load. But while we're talking about that, so you have like a library where you can open up your collectibles. It's so much better pulling stuff up, because remember how in the showroom it gets really annoying to use the showroom, and you have to swipe nonstop to the right to get your collectible to pull up, and then it'll freeze, and then you gotta wait for it to load and keep doing this. So even just pulling up collectibles on the VeVeVerse is so much better, because you can scroll by the license, scroll by the brand, and then you even have a search box. So what I did right now is I just typed in Thor and then just went and grabbed them. So it's super simple, just even picking out the collectibles and just instantly selecting them. So yeah, I just pulled up the common Thor with him holding the hammer over his head. Yeah, the quality is like the same. It's just it's not animated. That's the only thing, but it looks great. So not surprised at all. Yeah, all the rarities, it's the same collectible. It's just like different animation or different stance, but it's basically the same thing.
Basically, it's like going from non-HD to 4K.
That's kind of what it feels like. That's kind of a good example. Yeah, it's on the app. It definitely feels like things are held back. And then when you look in the VeVeVerse, now it's high quality.
Hey guys, just a quick message. Every week, I, Mr. V, work over 20 hours to bring you the most non-BS VeVe content. English is my second language, and there were nights we recorded until 1 a.m. My brain stopped processing, and I naturally spoke Vietnamese to him, and it got pretty weird. But that's just how dedicated we are to this podcast. In return, we ask you to enter a gentleman agreement. We will continue working until 1 a.m. for you, but we ask you to subscribe to the podcast, leave us a rating, and tweet at us to tell us what you think, because those comments will ultimately help us to refine the content just for you. That's it. That's all you need to do. Let's get back to it.
What's the nice, like, you already touched on, and like I also heard in spaces that people were praising the platinum moments and the golden moments looking phenomenal based on the lighting and all of that. But in terms of static, non-platinum moments, non-golden moments, have you been able to see any of those? And what was there anything that really stood out to you?
As far as like other collectibles that weren't gold or platinum moments.
Yes.
Yeah, tons of them. Like I was messing with Dragon Girl today. Dragon Girl, like the gold one. That one it's really nice. It's super polished and clean, and it has like a reflective element to it because depending on whatever lights you have that are shining on it, it'll reflect off of Dragon Girl. So sometimes from a certain view, you might see a yellowish tint, or depending on what light color you choose, you'll see like different tint based on that. The lighting and the shadows play such a huge role. So that was one of the first things I did the first time I worked with it, is just taking different lights and setting them on collectibles to show the shine that they have. And then I would take two different lights. So like I have one of like my main things, like it's like kind of like my homepage for my VeVeVerse, is I have a Jim Lee Batman right next to the Jim Lee Nightwing. I have it standing on top of the VeVe home space, and then I put the VeVe Gold logo right above it, and then I put a red O for the OMI sign. Because like if you're in the VeVeVerse, how do you not take a Taurus like a red circle and just put it up there? Like kind of have to do it. And then I'd use different lightings to shine it on Nightwing and Jim Lee Batman, and it looks phenomenal. So I took like a red and a blue light. I cast them both at the same time. So you just have like a really cool looking effect where now you're shining lights that are like kind of bouncing off and like shining the Nightwing and Jim Lee even more. And also that kind of answers your question. Some of the early stuff, like the Batman series 1 and series 2, 3, 4, like from season 1, some of that early stuff, that early DC stuff, literally some of the best stuff on the app. Like all the DC sculptures are absolutely amazing. Even Batgirl, you remember Batgirl first, where she has the phone in her hand taking a selfie? That thing is absurdly nice. That's probably another one of the best collectibles on the app. So I think all the DC stuff, some of those are like sleepers. I don't think people realize how nice those things look. They're absurdly high quality. So I mean, there's just tons of stuff. The T-Rex, like I have a T-Rex animated in there. You just get up really close to it and you see its mouth, and you can see like even inside its tongue, you can see just like the different granular. I'm missing. I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of, but you can see all the details with the teeth, the tongue, just up close to the texture of the skin. Everything is really good. The cars look amazing. So I have like a kit car. Yeah, so I used like a kit car, and I made like a ramp. So I have it going through like these rings of fire. So like
Wow.
those like old school Daredevil stunts where you can see a car jumping over a bunch of cars or a motorcycle, and they're jumping through rings of fire, or they're just jumping over more cars. So I did that with the kit car. So I made like kind of like a little scene like that, like a Daredevil scene, where you got it going over a ramp, jumping through rings of fire, and then, exiting off the other ramp. But just the car itself, it's high quality. Like it's super nice.
Are you able
It's got
to
the Lamborghinis. Yeah, sorry.
are you able to create new terrain? So you mentioned like with the car, like in creating a ramp and rings of fire. So I can envision you creating those shapes, right? Like a ring and adding a fire element. But like, so are you able to add like hills, waterfalls, lakes, add trees, things like
Uh,
that?
we don't have that yet, but all that stuff is coming. Because right now we're still just like bare bones beta, so we don't have any of the things unlocked just yet. But we know those things are on the way, so we're gonna be able to like we're actually gonna be able to have like animals. Like we'll be able to have like a pet dog like in the beaver. So we're gonna be able to have animals, grass, dirt, stuff like that.
Animals?
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna be able to have animals. So yeah, you'll have your own pet too in the
Wow.
beaver. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I
God.
thought that was hilarious. But yeah, the first night, first night we heard that animals will also be like a thing in the future. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, man.
Damn. And I hope you have to. So I hope that all of those things, the accessories and the pets, and all the grass and the water fountains and stuff. I hope that you can purchase them using OMI. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I haven't really heard. much about like the OMI side. I assume they're waiting until they can like load some new features, and then we'll like get details on that. Unfortunately, for now, we haven't really heard much about it. I'm still confident in the future about it because if you remember back in the Decon demo,
Yes.
so remember that Decon demo, Dan and David were both saying that OMI will be the primary currency in the VeVeVerse. So I mean, they said that back in the Decon demo. I assume plans haven't changed, and that users are basically begging for that nonstop. We want OMI utility, and of course, it makes sense to have it in the VeVeVerse as like a primary currency. So
Yeah.
I'm not speaking
Especially,
on it because there's like compliance or whatever. There must be like some hoops they still have to jump through to get it working, but they know that that's what we want.
yeah, especially in the maybe it was Decon. I think it was Decon. Dan did a demo, like a live demo, where he showed the viewers on a live stream. And I remember seeing like different types of buildings and like a fire hydrant and like streets and trees and those kind of things. So if that's an option, then it's really good news for the tokens, because our last guest, previous guest, Mr. David Yu, mentioned that one of the main barriers of implementing OMI in the VeVe app at the moment is the fact that Apple doesn't allow OMI, well, blockchain transactions to happen on these mobile apps, right? Otherwise, they would, otherwise, if VeVe were to implement, or if any app was to implement, transactions buying, selling using crypto, then Apple may delist them. And like the reality is, you cannot buy or sell anything using crypto, I believe, on the OpenSea mobile app. Like you have to go on their website. With the VeVeVerse being its own app that runs on desktop, that doesn't have anything to do with Apple, then I think that would create a lot more freedom for them to experiment these things, right?
Yeah, that all sounds right and checks out. I think they're just like they're really hesitant to talk about things that they can't implement just yet, or they just don't have the framework completely done, and they don't want to give us false expectations. Because I think that's what's obviously burned them, quite a few times in the past, like giving us a deadline or an expectation that they couldn't meet like at the exact time, and then that causes chaos and makes people upset. So I think they're just kind of keeping their lips closed on that, and they're basically just gonna release it when they can, release those types of features. But they know that's what we want. One thing that I know about David and Dan is they don't ignore the complaints that we have. They know every single complaint that we ask for or we ask about. They know about all the features we want. It's just a matter of them being able to actually implement it, and they're not going to give us any more deadlines because that hasn't worked in the past. So even with the VeVeVerse and the beta, they kind of just springed it on us. I don't think they didn't really like give us any sort of notice. Hey, VeVeVerse Beta is coming until they went to Comic-Con, and then all of a sudden when Dan was talking to VeVe Magic, he's like, "Oh yeah, VeVeVerse Beta is going to launch in the next couple weeks." And everyone's like, "Wait a minute, like where did that come from? We didn't hear that for months. We haven't heard anything about the VeVeVerse." So I think that's what they're trying to do is just like wait until they know that they're about to launch something, and then they'll announce it. Uh, so I assume that applies to OMI as well. Like they know that's what we want. We want to be able to interact with OMI in the VeVeVerse, buy and sell accessories, buy and sell created NFTs because they made that comment at DCon demo that you can create your own NFTs in the VeVeVerse and then sell them. I have no clue how that's going to work, but I specifically remember Dan, speaking about that. So, we want to be able to transact with OMI. And I think that's why there's been like a small uptick in OMI. It was in like the 0006s, and now it's like touching like the low sevens. There's been a little bit of uptick. So I think that the users are starting to, get bullish, and they're starting to realize, hey, there might be some things actually coming to us. So, maybe that's why some people are buying a little more now. We'll see. I think they don't want to get people's expectations too high and then let them down.
Yeah,
So
and
fine.
like, and with the whole like with the uptick of OMI, the price action improving, something that people should keep in mind is that because there's like two exchanges, maybe three, that have the token, it's a lot easier for the price action swing one way or the other. But I think the fact that people are talking about it does play into that. But just so people don't don't feel that FOMO to jump into it, I think it's also important to point that out. Like, the less exchanges that there are, the easier it is for the price action one way or the other. But that being said, if anyone does have exposure to the OMI token, it seems more and more promising that with the VeVeVerse continue to develop as people are exploring the beta version of it, we can sense it a little bit better that now we can put two and two together, right? So like we can see like, okay, this is what the token would apply to. In theory, it should things fall into place as they intended,
Yeah.
It's like the vision makes more sense, kind of. Like people can actually see the vision and see the future a little bit better. Now that the VeVeVerse is live, and now they actually. So I think the VeVeVerse was like a straw man for a while. A lot of people didn't think it was actually going to happen, and they needed to like actually see it to believe it. So now that it's here, I think that's why we're seeing a little bit of a shift in sentiment. Obviously, a shift in sentiment within like Twitter and Discord. Everyone's hyped. Everyone's super hyped over it. As far as OMI sentiment, I think that's why we're seeing a very small, shift. But yeah, we're definitely not pumping OMI here. We're not telling people to go buy it.
Nope.
That's not what the show's for. So
right. And then also, what I thought was pretty interesting, this is just going to be like an organic development, but as more and more people get invited to explore the VeVeVerse, they're going to want to have more collectibles to kind of place all around, right? And people talk, I'm sure, with a group chat or Discord chat, however you all communicate with one another. I'm sure with the sharing of ideas, that would more than likely encourage people to gradually accumulate these different types and styles of collectibles to be able to make things more presentable or more, just more eye-catching. And I did notice that the market was that there's a lot of funny activity, and by funny I don't mean like suspicious or anything. I'm just saying it's things that are a lot more appealing to the eye.
FOMO,
There's a lot of speculations, like the Avengers Tower that went from like maybe like 50 gems or something like that to 90, and it got up to like 175 at one point. That the house from the Up movie, even the Coca-Cola orb was on the main market page. That was kind of funny too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely happening. Yeah, like, and I'll admit it's happening even with myself. Like, even I'm getting a little bit of FOMO over certain things because I'm going into people's collectibles, or I'm going to people's spaces, and I'm seeing people's setups. I'm seeing the different ideas everyone has, because like a lot of this is you're aggregating ideas that you see from other people's spaces, because everyone's gonna have their own unique build style, their own unique way of thinking. So when I went to someone's spaces the other day, they had they had an art corner in their building. So they basically just had like they have a Jermaine Rogers section, and then they had like a Tristan Eaton section, and then they have all the collectibles, set up in displays. And they put like, really cool displays where they built glass displays, shine lights on them. It looked really, really cool. And I was like, that's kind of smart. I'm like, have a section for each one. And then I started looking through my collectibles. I'm just like, well, damn, I'm like, I don't have that many art pieces. And the only Dragon Girl I had was the pink one. And I was just like, and that's the common one. And all of them look good. But like the top ones that you probably would want to have if you have Dragon Girl is the ultra rare that has the gold and silver, the all gold one, or the all silver one. Like those are like kind of like the premium Dragon Girls. So even I got FOMO, and I just went and bought a gold Dragon Girl again. And because it's at like, it's all-time low price. Like these things were going for like 2K, like hotcakes, like the first day. And now it's like, 150, 170 bucks. So I went back and picked one up, and yeah, put in the VeVeVerse, this thing, and it's phenomenal. Like, especially with the light settings. And we haven't really discussed the light settings that much, because I know it's not that exciting. But I'm telling you, when you guys mess with the light settings, and shine them on some collectibles, and especially collectibles that can reflect. It's absolutely absurd. So you can see the sparkling, you can see when you zoom in, you'll see collectibles start to sparkle, like the ones that have like reflections and metal. Just the different lighting, it enhances the absolute hell out of these collectibles. So it's a lot of fun, man. So yeah, like the FOMO you're seeing, it's even happening to me, and I'm in the beta. Like I already need to be I already need to be prepared, like to make sure I have stuff because I wanted to like get ahead of the game. So like I've reacquired like the Diablo set. I want to make sure I finish it out so I can have like all the Lamborghinis. So I tried to get prepared ahead of time. And then I got beta access. I'm like, damn, I still don't have enough. Like I feel like I need more. So when you start to go through other people's spaces and you see the things they're building and the ideas they have, and then it makes you think, oh, you know what? I kind of want to do something similar or maybe a little different, but I need such and such collectibles. I can't, you can't just build a house with just heroes and villains. Like, you can, but you probably want some art pieces. Like it's still a house, so you want to be able to, have art posters. I feel like I kind of have FOMO over just like certain posters. I don't have enough of them, so makes me want to go buy some more just to put posters up on the walls. So yeah, you're seeing FOMO in the market because everyone's feeling it. Everyone wants to decorate their homes and make them look really cool. So yeah, I'm not surprised at all.
What about comics? Have you seen comics there, or have you heard about comics coming into the VeVeVerse?
Uh, we can't display comics just yet, but that's it is coming. Like it's not just like it's not like a straw man type thing where it's like an urban legend about comics. Like it actually is coming. We just gotta wait. Just not every collectible or comic is optimized yet for the VeVeVerse. So as things get optimized, they roll them into the VeVeVerse as soon as it's ready. So
That's pretty interesting, right? Because I'm talking about the comics because for the collectibles, when you go from seeing them on a mobile app to seeing them in a Viewverse, it's like going from like blurry non HD to 4K, right? So that adds an aesthetic value to the collectibles, and that somewhat created the FOMO because people want to see like the best version of their asset there, right? So that's why people are buying different things. But the comics, we've never seen any comics in a showroom. We've never seen any comics in a Viverse, right? But comics, like these comic covers are beautiful. So I think when people, can showcase their comics, and especially because they look so cool, they can use them as like, backgrounds and covers, and then kind of like create that blend between comics and collectibles. That's going to be very, very interesting, even from like an artistic perspective, and also like what people would do with these comics.
Yeah, you know what?
yeah,
You're with that in that same vein, Will and Stevo. I've heard a lot of people or I've read a lot from people on Twitter mentioning how they'd love to portray the covers or maybe even one of the individual pages from the comics on like a wall, right? So like take a zoom in and expand an illustration from one of the comics, maybe. And Stevo, maybe you could touch on this. Was there any mention of being able to take screenshots from your phone or like a picture from your computer and being able to portray that in the VeVeVerse? Because I've come to learn over time that if I make a collage and on my phone and using some of my collectibles or comics, and I want to post it in the feed on VeVe on the phone on the app, I would need to move the collage or the file into a VeVe
Folder.
yeah VeVe picture folder. Is there
album, yeah.
is there anything similar of anything like of that nature that you can do in order to bring something that's not necessarily on the phone or not necessarily on VeVe, like a collectible, but maybe if you make a folder on your computer and then you transfer some illustration, some images there, can you portray them in the VeVeVerse?
No, I don't think you can do that just yet. Yeah, I don't think that's a feature that they have like available yet. So maybe that comes in the future. I mean, we're still just like really early beta. It's only like 1 weekend. So maybe that'll come in the future where you can take like outside pictures and bring them in, stuff like that. As far as I know for now, no, I don't think we can.
Okay, and then
But see, I can let me rephrase that, because in a way, I guess you can. So I used the stream. So we didn't discuss the stream boards yet, or the whiteboards. So there's like these whiteboards you can bring up. You can display however many whiteboards you want. And on these whiteboards, you can text, and like you can type in a message on a whiteboard, or you can actually draw it. So you can, I mean, if you're like good with drawing with your mouse or whatever, you can draw a message on a whiteboard, and then you can put this whiteboard in front. So if you want to kind of, I guess, create like a little scene. Let's say you have like two, fighters or two heroes and villains fighting, and you set up a scene like that. You could probably put like a little whiteboard on the ground to discuss, the scene or whatever. Just put like a little message. So the whiteboards, that's not as important, but the string boards, that's where there's a lot of utility with that, and I think they're going to really enhance that going forward. So as right now, there's string boards, and basically you can take this board, put it in your VeVeVerse. You can scale it however big you want. You can make this thing huge or small, whatever you want to do. And the Streamboard will display whatever monitor you choose. So like at home, I have, I'm on my laptop, but I have two external monitors set up. So I can choose on the Streamboard to display, monitor 1, 2, or my laptop screen. So like what I did the other night, which I'm sure you guys will love to hear, is when you guys had your podcast debut with Mr. David Yu on YouTube, I took your YouTube stream. I put it on my right. I put it on my right monitor, and then I took the stream board, displayed the YouTube stream, and then had it in the VeVeVerse. So I was effectively watching the David Yu stream that you guys did on YouTube in the VeVeVerse. So you can display things that you want on stream boards, and you can, present however many stream boards you want. So yeah, so technically, if you want, you could pull up a browser. So let's say you have your collage picture of whatever it is. Yeah, technically, you could probably just pull it up on your computer, set it to like display 2 or something, put it on a stream board, and then now your stream board is displaying whatever picture you want. So you could do that. I guess that's like a workaround. So if you want to set up pictures like that, yeah, you can do that.
Wow. So you mentioned that you went and try out that experience, right? And then you went and bought some Lamborghinis. How long did it take from you buying the vehicles to the vehicles showing up in your space and vice versa? I wonder how long it takes. Let's just say like you selling something and that collectible disappearing from your space.
I don't know the answer to the second question because I haven't
Yeah.
sold anything this past week. So I don't know. Yes, I don't know how fast something sells and how soon it'll disappear. But I do know for now, I think it takes a couple hours for something you buy to sync up with your VeVeVerse account. But we were told they're going to significantly speed up the time. Like this is just how it is for now. But apparently it'll get faster to like within 30 minutes or 20 minutes, something like that. So that'll be much more manageable in the future.
What about it? What about displaying mid numbers?
No, it's not a feature just yet, but that's another thing that's like it's coming. It just is one of those things that we can't do yet. Yeah, it's still like first week, so I think they're gonna like try to see what we break first, see what things are broken, let us send in feedback, and then after they rectify those issues, then they'll probably unlock some more features, see if we break them again, and just basically just keep doing that process over and over until they feel like the VeVeVerse is like ready for a public launch for everyone to use.
Yeah.
So I think all those features, I'm like pretty sure everything's coming. It's just they want us to, see what works and what doesn't, and then let them fix it.
Yeah. And so today I spent some time analyzing all these market activities from the FOMO, and I realized that there's so many ways to play this VeVeVerse game because people can be, well, not really like play the game, but like more like enjoying the experience, because people can use their collectibles and build like a fighting scene, right? Like villains and superheroes or IPs versus IP. For example, like Marvel and DC Comics, which we are extremely lucky to have both on the app. Or if they the more like folks like Mr. V, who doesn't have a whole lot of collectibles, but have a very high quality number of collectibles with your special mint Visa, then you can do like a museum setup, you know, and then some people can focus on the art aspect of it. And especially like the decon stuff are pretty scarce. So I think there's so many ways to kind of like design and display what they have in very interesting methods.
Yeah, so like in Mr. V's case, we're not going to discuss like his favorite edition number or anything like that. But
Mhm.
let's say I'm Mr. V, and let's say my favorite mint number is 999 for example's sake. So if I was him, this is probably what I would do for now until we can display mint numbers. I would set up either inside the home space that comes standard, or I'd build my own like little building, and then I would either take like a whiteboard, or I would just draw in on my own by using shapes, and then draw like 999 on the outside of the building, and put Mr. 999 or 999 Hall of Fame, whatever. Take those collectibles and then just go put them all in that, that house, to kind of distinguish that, like, hey, this is my house in 999. These are my favorite mint numbers. And maybe you could do something similar like that in the future, where because there's different ways you can just put words. Like you can basically just build words using shapes and then just put them anywhere you want. So that's what I would do until like the actual displaying mint numbers is truly live. Just do something like that where you just like build a house, build like a room of some sort, and then just use some shapes to put whatever your mint number that you really like, and to say this is the house of this, this is my whatever it is. So that's what I would do for now. I'll just build like a cool house
Actually, you
and
know
just
what?
like
Let me explain my point earlier again. I guess what I was trying to get at is there's so many ways to differentiate yourself, right?
mm,
Mr. V can have all of his 999 collectibles and comics display, and when people come to his space, they see all of that, they know, okay, this is the 999 guy, right? For example, like Grubber B, he has like over 150 T-Rexes, the animated T-Rexes. He can be known as the Jurassic Park guy, or somebody can be like a Dr. Profit kind of guy. He's a quantity guy, or Vivi Magic, purely Disney, right? Or Metaverse Life. He can combine different collectibles from different IPs, but he's really good at designing. So his whole showroom, or because of his skills, is gonna look like multiple showrooms combined. That's gonna look very artistic, very like Ready Player One kind of type of space. So my point is, there are so many ways to showcase what you have. You can be the quantity guy, you can be the Jurassic Park guy, you can be the mid number guy. There's so many ways to be known and differentiate yourself using this, because in the past, like people can see your collectibles from visiting your profile, or they can come in if you have the time to design your showrooms, your VeVe showrooms on the app. But not many people would do that. But this VeVeVerse thing allow so much more flexibilities and freedoms to show your true passion for a certain thing on the app.
yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, because people are gonna be able to like build brands of who they are a lot better in the universe because it's so much easier to use. So yeah, you'll have people who are just super, hardcore Disney fans who just have like Disney themed vaults. And I'm sure when VeVe Magic gets her hands on the VeVe, she's gonna become like, Miss Disney, and everything's gonna be Disney this. She's gonna have a castle, she's gonna have basically every single Disney piece available and shown it. And yeah, I see what you're saying. People are going to build their own brands, and that's what they're going to be. Their signatures are going to be. So Mr. V, his signatures are going to be his premium mints that he collects, and he's be known as Mr. Whatever. I don't have like any sort of signature just yet. I haven't like really come up with anything that to make it my own. But everyone will, in time, they're going to figure out exactly how to like make themselves stand out and make people remember them by something. Because even Crypto Khaki, if you remember, you were listening to Twitter Spaces the other day, and he went on a whole rant about this is what's gonna become the next wave of like becoming known in the community. Because like obviously we already have people who are established personalities, as you would say, in the community, So like, Prop is known as like the market guy. He likes to, discuss high level market stuff, and he likes to make his predictions, stuff like that. And that's kind of like his brand. Everyone kind of has their own brands in the community. I think the VeVeVerse, since it's going to be so interactive and people are always going to be on it, I think that's going to be the next wave. And that's kind of what CryptoCat is trying to say, is that's going to be the next wave of how people become their own. Like, what do you have in the VeVeVerse? What type of really cool collections did you build? What type of house? What type of games are you trying to create? So like, 'cause I think one of the big ideas everyone's talking about is what can this mean in the future? Like, can I build games in the VeVeVerse that people have to play? Like, for an example, a maze. Because a
Oh yeah.
maze is that really, yeah, the maze is not really that hard to build.
Mhm.
All you have to do is just, grab some walls and just duplicate it all over the place and just put it in different directions. And you can basically make a maze, take like the golden lucky, like the Jermaine Rogers gold lucky bunny, and just put it at the end. And it'll almost be like the Ready Player One story, where they're all in search for the golden egg. And maybe at the end it'll be like, the Jermaine Rogers gold bunny. So yeah, I think people are gonna be able to build their mazes, and people will be like, "Oh, that's that one guy who made that cool maze. Like, he's cool." And then Metaverse Life, I mean, I already know this guy's been known for everything. He's already a force in the community with how good he is at editing stuff, just making his videos in the VeVe 500. But I've seen this dude showroom; it's unbelievably next level. The things he's doing, none of the rest of us can do. Like the stuff he's doing already, I haven't seen anyone else create just yet, because he's absurd. He can do everything. And I can tell he already comes from like a background of working with computers and working with, different metaverses. So he already has experience. So it's gonna be fun. Everyone's gonna have like their own niche brand and what they're good at.
I mean, that's something I'm kind of looking forward to. Not that I have that kind of time to spend in the metaverse, but like just being able the thought of being able to either recreate or design something original is pretty, it sounds pretty fun, right? For me, first thing that comes to my mind is because like on Disney Plus they had the Moon Knight series, and then they had like you mentioned the maze, and then in that show they had like they entered a maze that was designed like the Eye of Osiris, and then like there were mummies in there, and just like exciting little things that like if you could have animated things that could pop out and scare people, and imagine people wearing like the Apple AR glasses, just like walking through those sort of environments, either whether they be original or recreations of things that we may have seen. It just sounds really really entertaining, and adding some like
Yeah.
some value there where you could, what's next, like because it's it's going to be based on how many users there are, and who knows who's going to be inspired to make the thing or next big.
Yeah, what you're talking about with like the mazes of, let's say, a skeleton comes out and stuff. So a lot of us have been discussing this in the beta, because not that I can do scripting. I know nothing about scripting or coding or any of that shit. So I'll be like a lost puppy whenever scripting comes out. But some of these guys like Brock and some of these other like high level guys, they know how to script and they're really good at it. They want scripting and they're talking about the ideas they have, and I'm just like kind of blown away at the thought of it. So they want to build these types of interactions using scripting. So let's say I build a maze and they build a script that has a proximity trigger. So if I get close
Mm.
to a certain step within this maze, now a skeleton's going to come out and scare me. So they want to do scripting type things where it'll have proximity triggers all over the place to scare you or chase you. So let's say I walk down the wrong hall. Well, here comes T-Rex to come chase me now, because it just triggered the proximity of him, and now T-Rex is chasing after me in the VeVeVerse. So they're talking about these types of things, and I'm like blown away. I'm like, damn. I'm like, I had no clue how I would ever do that using scripting, because I don't know how. But the thought of these guys wanting to do it really bad, and they seem like they already know how, that's like the next level. I think is going to be absurd, because you can extrapolate that to all sorts of ideas. So building roller coasters, building different types of games, playing chess. So like I move the pawn, and now the computer is going to play versus me, and then it's going to know to move this using whatever scripting to like have it, give it like a low, medium, high setting. So now I'm playing chess versus computer in the VeVeVerse, things like that. So when I'm hearing all these different ideas people are talking about using scripting, I'm like, that's like absurd. I like never kind of like that's not something I ever thought of. So proximity triggers, I think that'd be really cool. Let's say you do like you do some sort of like a treasure hunt. So let's say I have to go. I'm not even entirely sure how this will work. It's just I just remember other people talking about it. So let's say I go walk up to Spider-Man, and then I go type some words to him, and then he speaks back and gives me clues on where the hidden treasure is. And then I go walk to find it, and then I meet up with another collectible in the VeVeVerse, Mr. Knight, for example. I go type to him, hey, how are you doing? Can you help me find this? And then he gives me some info, and then now I have to go look again. So I was hearing ideas like this, like treasure hunts, and then having collectibles interact back with me through scripting. I'm just like, I don't know how the hell you guys are gonna do that, but that sounds amazing. And they all made it sound like it's just super simple. All you have to do is just type in some code and it works. So I don't know how any of this stuff is gonna work, but it sounds extremely exciting and really interactive. One thing that I think is cool is Dan mentioned like they're working AI into the VeVeVerse, so that's gonna be coming in the future. So he didn't exactly say how, but he said that AI will be coming to VeVe and they're gonna work with it. So seems like there's like a ton of exciting things coming. And if you remember, like a couple nights ago, or I think it was last night, when Alex was on Spaces talking about the VeVe, like we're already in beta. Like some of us are in beta. We already have access and can see all the cool things that you can do and like potential future things. And he's saying, "Oh, you don't even know." He's like, "You haven't seen nothing yet. Yeah, if you guys are in the VeVeVerse and you're having a ton of fun," he's like, "And you haven't seen nothing yet." I'm just like, "Well, what can possibly be coming?" Like, like how, like that's a strong statement to be like, oh, you've seen nothing yet. And meanwhile, we're already in there and we already can see all the cool things we can do. So I'm kind of blown away by statements like that. Like, oh, you've seen nothing yet. We have AI coming, we have coding and scripting. I'm like, well, this is about to get really nuts this next year, it sounds like, with all the new plans they have. So yeah, super exciting time. Like literally all of us in the VeVeVerse Beta channel, we're just like hyped all day and just like sharing pictures and sharing ideas, and it's absurdly fun.
How are you preparing for it? Like a lot of people are buying things because they speculate. Like Walt went up a little bit today simply because if you go to your Vivo space and you are a big fan of Disney and you have everything except for the first appearance of Walt and or Mickey Mouse, then your whole space is not complete. FYI, I don't have a Walt. So, for example, if you're a DC fan, then or like a Star Wars fan, then you be looking to, getting the animated R2D2 because it interacts with the X-Wing, those kind of things. So I feel like there's a lot of ways people are preparing for this.
So my personal preparation and my personal strategy, I don't really care if other people follow it. It's not a big deal to me. I kind of want to target animated collectibles that I don't have yet. So to me, knowing that the R2D2 animated is going to be interactive with the X-Wing, it could just be like a brand new thing they're coming up with, or it could be an idea they've had for several collectibles and they're just now bringing them back to life. And David, you has mentioned several times in different podcasts, different interviews, even when I talked to him, he said these collectibles are going to come to life in the VeVeVerse. He says they have a future life of their own that will come alive in the viewers. So when I see the R2D2 get the animated or the interactive feature of the X-Wing, I was like surprised, but at the same time not, because they have mentioned so many times things.
Well, they actually have the ghost trap from Ghostbuster. Those two interact too.
So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they made so many mentions of this. So to me, it kind of makes me want to go back and grab more like Marvel and DC animated stuff. Because if they have plans to like maybe go back and take these animated collectibles, because realistically they're the secret rares, they're the highest quality, most expensive versions of their set. So it makes sense that they have the most utility, the most things you can do with them, besides just like an animation that you can take a picture with. It kind of makes sense that they probably wanted to do much more with animated collectibles. So I was kind of looking back and thinking of just going back to some Marvel stuff I don't own yet, because I don't have all the secret animated stuff, not all of them. So there's some I want to go back and get, and maybe get some dupes of some other ones. that's one of the first thing I thought of is like maybe go back and rethink about animated collectibles and what can possibly happen. So that was something I thought about. Obviously the art pieces, I thought that's kind of smart. And a lot of them are like low edition too. A lot of the stuff is so scarce. But since we've been in such a bear market and sentiment hasn't been as good as we would have liked it in the past year or two, the prices have fallen so much on so many art pieces. But literally most of this decon stuff and most of this like high quality art, they're like 888 and lower edition piece. And there's tons of them you can choose from, and they just look really good in the vault, like or in the showroom. So not the showrooms, I'm sorry, the spaces. And then when you can build displays, just put lights here and there. I think like the art pieces, that's another thing. I kind of want to like double back and just go see which ones I like really like the most and try to get more of them. I'm not gonna like splurge and go nuts on them, but definitely want to go back and get those.
I feel like people want to complete sets too, right? Because if you have maybe 4 out of 5 posters on your wall, then you're missing one. It's there, but it's not really there.
Yeah, it's just like it's making people want to buy it in total. So like, yeah, completing sets, getting animated stuff, getting art, getting comics. Obviously, a lot of us are bullish on comics in the future, and I think being able to display, like, there's obviously Amazing Fantasy 15. That's like the biggest draw comic we have on the app. It's the premier comic we have. It's the biggest flex if you have obviously a secret rare. That's like the biggest flex you can have. You can just have the commons or ultras, whatever it is that you have. It's just so important to be able to display it, I think, in a metaverse style, because displaying in the VeVe app, I think it's underwhelming for like physical collectors. Like they just don't care as much because they're just like, well, who cares? I can hold it in my hand at home. Why do I need to hold it in my phone? Like, why is that so important to me? So maybe if you can like, put it in a metaverse style setting with your Spider-Man collectible, shine a cool light on the comic and make it look epic and blow it up, make it look big and take over a whole wall. Maybe these are the types of things that can inspire physical collectors to come in and look and be like, damn, I kind of want some of these. Like, look at what they're displaying. Look at these walls of comics that they're building in their homes. Because not every physical collector can afford to take their giant cardboard boxes of comics and then just load up a wall or load up a floor with all their comics. Not all of them can display them like that. But now that you have the VeVeVerse with unlimited space, you can display whatever the hell you want. So if you have a lot of Grail comics, if you have a lot of commons, if you have the ultra rare covers, which something I'm like really considering going back and getting some because they're unique, they're VeVe exclusives. So being able to display your VeVe exclusive comics in the VeVeVerse, it just and we talked about last time that I was on the show. It's like those ultra rares, they could be sleepers. We don't know yet. So there's there's a future coming for a lot of these collectibles and comics. So I just kind of want to stay ahead of the curve and make sure that like I'm not caught FOMOing because something randomly just appears later in a couple months that maybe I should have been prepared for or thought of.
Yeah, on the topic of comics, like I'm just really impressed now that I think about it, and I really don't spend that much time comics, but with each rarity, there's some pretty cool element. Like with so obviously the commons are the most liquid, the secret rares are the most scarce. The ultra rares are usually the rares offer the greatest return. Yeah, the greatest return for the MCP. And then the uncommons, they're usually black and white, right? And they're usually the most overlooked, but probably the cheapest as well, right? So
Yep.
I mean, there's something for it. I mean, at the end of the day, there's something for everyone, like whether it be budget based or scarcity based, and then like also for like the what's the term, aficionados who really want to collect the exclusive artwork of their favorite artists for different Marvel for Marvel characters.
I would love to visit Michael Bowman's space.
Yeah, that's true for the one of one artist.
The one of ones, yeah. We had him on maybe like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And his collections has like, I can't remember the exact number, but maybe like 10 or even more than that, just one of ones. That's going to be super unique.
Yeah, he'll have a really popular space. People are going to want to go see his his one of ones. And I saw someone, I visited someone's home who had a one of one like Alex Ross Spider-Man poster, and he like shined a light on it and had it like in the main home. And I saw that, I'm just like, that is really cool. I'm like, that's just like a really cool flex. Like, hey, I have a one of one, and then he displayed it like that. I'm like, that's really cool. So yeah, Michael Bowman, that dude's a beast. He's got everything. Like, he's got all the like to have all the one of ones he has. It's super impressive. And yeah, he'll definitely have a popular house in VeVe.
I was actually talking about this with another friend. Maybe before the year's over, I may try and actually place a legit bid for one of those. I'm just kind of waiting for something that I really know, because I think that there's been a couple of like repeats of the different characters, but I'm just kind of like waiting what other artists come up, and then I feel that urge to be able to have one of those, at least one of those, you know. Have you guys ever put much thought into those?
I've never once even bothered. It's just like I know who I'm playing versus, and I don't have more money than them, so it's just like I'm not. I'll just never even bother. Like I can't compete for Michael Bowman, Dr. Profit, Dan and David. Like these guys are buying this thing too, so it's like I can't compete versus them. So yeah, it'd be cool to have one. Maybe it's like you get lucky and just put in an auction, you put in the bid, and someone forgets or something. I don't know, but realistically, I'm never winning an auction versus guys, so I never thought about it.
Yeah, I'm not saying that like I can compete with these guys, but I just want to be able to put it out. It's got to work at least one time.
maybe one goes overlooked and they just don't care like a certain week, and you can just scoop one. You never know.
Yeah.
Or you can buy one off someone. Maybe someone's willing to just give you a deal on something because they want gems for an upcoming grail, and maybe you can try to ask Michael Bowman or someone like that. Like, is there one that you'd be willing to part with? And maybe you can make a deal with them. So yeah, there is ways to get one. You never know.
That's going to be like a new way to buy collectibles too, right? Because let's just say like somebody else, let's just say Stevo, you have something that is truly special. Mr. V comes over, or I come over and look at it, and we, and I see it from a very different perspective, because it's now you explaining it to me, and we talk about it. Let's just say you have this really cool collectible, I don't know, like Elsa, like a very nice mint Elsa. Previously, you would list it on the market, right? And then people can just buy it or not buy it. But then now there's going to be some interactions, between you guys. It's like I come over and we talk about it and we discuss about it and we form that friendships. And maybe I buy from you, maybe I don't buy from you. But then like there's going to be a lot more communication between collectors, and not just a one-way or two-way transaction, like you buy or you sell.
You know what? You just were kind of reminding me, like, there are some like well-to-do people who hire people to go around and find artwork just and buy it on their behalf and then bring it back to their own.
That happens to every single like $1 million painting auctions. You don't see the buyers. You see the representatives of the buyers, right? Like the buyers are always on the phone, like, listening in a mansion somewhere. It's always the agents of those buyers who are actually, exactly, showing up at the event. So that's going to be pretty cool. We
saw it on that Netflix show, The Golden Touch, King of Collectibles. Like, because that guy basically had, he had guys walking around going to people's houses, go look at their sports collection and then report on it back to him. And then he'd make the offers. So yeah.
Yeah. What else is cool? I know that, not everybody has a design skill. You may have thousands of collectibles. You may have very nice mint. You may have, all these things, but you don't have the time, right? You don't have the skills. And then when you look at these beautiful spaces, and you look at yours, well, you have really good inventory. You just don't know how to design them. So I think like a new career or a new line of celebrities in the VeVeVerse will be the designers, like the Vaultaholics. Because
I once actually discussed this. I totally forgot. So yeah, we're gonna. I think in the next like month or two, we're gonna be able to turn on a role that like has like a builder's role. So right now, if I invite you to my VeVeVerse house, you're just assigned the visitor role, and that's all you can do is just visit. But in the future, we're going to be able to turn on like a builder role, and you'll be able to come in and you can build my vault, like in my house. You can really just come over, go
Oh
into
yeah.
my collection, and you can start building stuff. And also, I can build at the same time. So there's going to be
Oh,
super interactive stuff. So where I'll be like, hey, Mr. V, go make the home space main room. All right, Will, I want you to go work on the platform stand over here, and I'm gonna be on top of the roof, and I'm gonna build this. And the three of us can really be building stuff at the same time.
Hmm.
So I think that's gonna be a highly interactive thing in the future, where a bunch of people load up in one person's space, and the main user will be like, someone with a lot of collectibles, and we're gonna see people build vaults collectively. And I think that's going to
Vaultaholics
be
will be
like,
very sought after because for guys like, I don't know, like Dr. Profit, for example, or so Dr. Profit has 16,000 collectibles. There's no way he will have time nor the skills to do anything, well, to create a space that is worthy of his collection. But for guys like, like Grub or Mr. 41 or Husho, Robert, or Simon, like our previous guests, those guys have thousands of collectibles. They're probably wealthy. And if they're wealthy, then their time, their 1 hour is probably worth a couple $100, right? Or like Nesco, for example. And because they are, they have to take care of the business or whatever, they won't have time to design vaults. So they probably like hire these vault designers to do all of that. And there's going to be a competition between these designers. There's going to be a very, strong demand from people asking for them to design a showroom. So I feel like they will be like the very interesting celebrities almost, because most of the time you don't design your home. You either have like engineers or interior designer or exterior designers who would do that, like, or at least give you recommendations on how you should lay out things, on how, like, what kind of furniture you should buy, what kind of, like, where you should put your pools and those kind of things. I think that's going to be like the next dynamic in the VeVe market. There will be like vault designers, or I don't know, advisors or consultants on how you should structure your homes so that it looks best. And there's going to be so many more businesses, especially since you mentioned people having programming skills, designing their own experiences. Maybe they can have like an escape room, right? Or Halloween is, what is it, like a little bit over 2 months away. People can design their Halloween experiences or haunted houses and have you come over, or people can do like the Sweet Game or Mr. Beast style, like when that the game in that movie where you like that giant statue / doll would sing a song, and you can only move when the song is happening. Like if the song stops, then you have to stop. Have you guys seen that episode?
I haven't seen that, but yeah, the
Okay.
whole idea you're talking about is
So it's like organizing this social experience and have people participating in it. So, like you may not have the most collectibles or you may not have the most expensive collection, but if you can gather people together to play a game, or if you can design people's showrooms, or if you can create all these experiences, man, that's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be so many ways to build up that credibility, build up their brand names, and create that economic engine for themselves just from the VeVeVerse experience. Obviously, we probably need more users to make that happen, but all the tools are there.
Yeah, and I think this is where OMI can actually come in and have a role. So let's say I pay you to come build my vault, and I pay you in some set amount of OMI. VeVe then takes, let's say, 2% of that sale, and they burn the OMI and take another 2%, and you got to pay the house because we're doing everything under their home or under their roof, so they got to get paid too, and then you get to keep the rest. And this is where like OMI transactions can take place between users. where like some OMI gets burnt, some OMI goes to the house because you got to pay them, and then now you get paid because you're the builder
Mm.
or you're the designer, whatever it is. So I think that's like a way where if they're able to, this is how OMI can transact nonstop in the marketplace or nonstop in the VeVeVerse, where you have vault builders getting paid, designers, whatever it is, people who are doing like tasks and doing jobs for other people in the VeVeVerse. I think if you can have it transact in OMI, have a percentage that gets burned, have a percentage that goes to the house, it seems logical. It seems like it could work, and I think this is what all the users want. They want to see the OMI transact and be given utility. So that kind of makes sense to me as far as a way to, get transactions going and scratch multiple people's backs at once. And then I want to talk. So I had a couple ideas. So let's say like that maze idea. So I talked about this on the Twitter space with people a few nights ago. Not everyone listened to it, so I just want to like put the idea out there again. Let's say I build a maze and it's really good, and I show it to VeVe and they like it. So VeVe, let's say, hosts a game with the maze. They're gonna put a partner statue at the end of the maze. Whoever beats the maze first wins the partner statue. They either buy or rent the maze from me because I'm the creator. I created the maze for them, so I get paid. The users can pay for the entry fee in OMI. The users are now buying and transacting in OMI to enter this maze and enter the competition to hopefully beat the level and become the first. So now you got users transacting in OMI. I'm getting paid as a creator. VeVe is putting up some sort of a prize that at the end of the day it'll get paid for. They'll be paid back for the prizes they put up because there's just so many different OMI transactions going on with all these games and different events happening in the VeVeVerse. So I think that's a way where like multiple people's backs get scratched at once. And then now you're just driving up engagement in total with the VeVeVerse, which is what they want. They just like, I'm sure they love hearing us losing sleep and spending 5 hours a night on the VeVeVerse. That's what they want. They want us all to just, be in there, just, transacting in and outside. So I think you can take that idea, apply it to different types of games, whether I build a racetrack of some sort, and then I, rent the race, like I rent the racetrack. VeVe rents the racetrack for me, or they just buy it entirely from me, and I give up control of it, and they just get to take it. So I think there's different ways where like people can get paid for what they do in the
You know what? As you were talking about that, like my mind started like going in another direction. Like I had completely forgotten what it was called, but have you ever heard of the Theta network? THETA?
Um, that's like a Bitcoin network, I think, or not like a Bitcoin network, but it's like a crypto network, I think.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's like an end-to-end video content streaming and delivery service. So basically, like if you create content, you can get paid with the token that's used to like that's used as part of its ecosystem. But also at the same time, like if you, and I may be misremembering this, but if you offer up your bandwidth with your internet, you get paid with another gas token. But anyhow, one like what I was like trying to tie this back to what you were talking about, like if you create something and VeVe wants to use it, and then maybe there's a prize for being the first or whatever place by streaming one of these events or games or what have you, people could be paying like a subscription fee to
To
watch
watch the event. Yeah.
that one event, right? Meanwhile, that could go towards covering the cost for the prize. It could also go towards the cost of like the creating process and like for the time that you put into it. And it would benefit everyone because like it would incentivize everyone to create something that other people would want to use, and it could go to like a
Yeah,
variety of different
I see what you're saying. Because also, let's think of it like, let's say, because VB users don't have to be the only people who can, in a sense, access the VBverse. So let's say VB promotes this race or this maze nonstop. hey, we got a huge event this Thursday. Come watch someone win a partner statue. You have to pay 10 OMI to watch or whatever. It doesn't have to be just VeVe users who have VeVe accounts in the VeVeVerse to watch this. What if just like any crypto guy who has OMI or just feels like buying OMI to watch this event, they can just like pay just to become a viewer and just like have some type of way for guests to be able to access the VeVeVerse. So if there's like a guest mode where you don't even have to be a viewer, but you can come in and still just like pay a token. Just all you have to do is just put in your details and then just pay a token to watch an event, things like that. Yeah, I can see this working where like, yeah, OMI is just constantly being transacted with, and then yeah, VeVe gets paid back for whatever collectible they're putting up.
Yeah, and like personally, I think I would prefer doing something along those lines more so than having like exclusive membership or access rights to access some kind of event by being a holder of a particular collectible, because I think that's a lot more easily manipulated and very easy to influence people one way or another by, like, say for example, if I bought tomorrow's drop, the Green Lantern, right? I think there's how many editions? 3,500?
It was like 3,800 or so. Yeah, something like that.
Thereabouts, right? Say I had 10 grand and I could sweep, I don't know, 10%. And then like VeVeVerse rolls out and I say, okay, for everyone who has access, or for every holder of this collectible, you can be a member and watch all of the events that I stream with, and I'm not saying that I'm doing this, but like with Tails on Twitter. Like, he's one of the creators, right? For
Yeah. He's like one of the biggest vault builders. Yeah.
yeah, and Metaverse Life, is that his name?
Yeah, Metaverse Life.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my opinion, by far the best.
Yeah. Say like I teamed up with those guys, but like I have 10% of the supply of the Green Lantern collectibles. And I tell everyone, yeah, if you want to watch all the events that we host and stream, you guys need to be able to have this, and we're not going to offer it for anybody else. And like
Yeah.
that's
And then
gonna
you're just dropping Green Lanterns on the floor for like 500 a piece. And yeah, I see what you're
right.
saying.
So I think
Yeah.
that's, whereas with like and again, this is not me pushing one way or the other. I'm just saying that it's a lot less easy to, assuming that the token is going to be on many other marketplaces, so that there's less manipulation of the token and that's more evenly spread out throughout the entire community and ecosystem and what have you. That would make things a lot more balanced, let's say, through use of the token. So just my 2 cents, and I could see that. You know what I mean? Like I could just see, like, because I've heard, and we all know groups that require you to be a holder of a particular collectible, and if you don't have it, then you're out of that circle. I'm sure over time that there's some kind of benefits to those sort of things, but like I'd rather not be in those groups, just because I think that it's a little bit too much of a power play on the market, and it price a lot of people out who do actually enjoy and want to collect. But in either case, circling back to we're talking about different games, venues, different ideas, and how we can integrate the OMI token. I thought that's all pretty cool, and I'm excited to see like what we have in store.
Yeah, so actually, I wanted to present this idea because actually, I was talking to you guys about it like yesterday, how I wanted to make a Twitter thread about this, but realistically, no one cared about my last Twitter thread. I don't feel like writing one out, so I'll just say it here. So this is like a kind of, I think it's a cool idea. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. So I was pitching to
Yo,
Dan earlier.
Stevo, your recent tweets did pretty well. I saw some engagement.
I think like the VeVeVerse related tweets, yeah, I think people really like those tweets because yeah, I had beta access. So then like if you hear me speak, I'm one of the few people who I guess has access. So like there's information I guess to obtain from me. But as far as like making a thread, yeah, I didn't feel like doing that. But I don't know, maybe it would have done well. Who knows? Well, anyways, this is the idea I kind of had that I thought would be kind of cool. So let's say there's word bubbles that we can put in the VeVeVerse. So I like type in a word bubble because instead of using like a whiteboard, I mean like a straight up like comic book word bubble. And then I can choose the color and choose the font, this and that. So let's say I make an action scene with Spider-Man fighting Doc Ock. I then type in the word bubble and make up whatever words, whatever sentence I want to give them. And then I go take another action scene on a different part of the VeVeVerse. Because keep in mind, like I said, you can take whatever pictures you want from any angles. So you can really create really, really high quality action scenes in the VeVeVerse.
Is that
So
like you recreating a page in a comic book kind of thing?
that's kind of what I'm leading to. So
Okay.
I'm gonna then take a bunch of pictures of these different action scenes and these different word bubbles. I'm basically gonna create a comic through the VeVeVerse using their collectibles. So I'm literally gonna create a Marvel comic straight up using the VeVeVerse where I'm just taking pictures. I'm using word bubbles to give these guys different phrases and different sentences. And I got Spider-Man fighting Doc Ock at the beginning, and Doc Ock kicks his ass in the first scene or something. And now throughout the rest of the comic that I'm creating in the VeVeVerse, Spider-Man is now he's asking Miles Morales to come help him or something. So the next scene, I'm going to bring Miles Morales and the FA Spidey, and now these guys are going to go team up, and then they're going to go fight Green Goblin, fight these guys, whoever. And they're going to have word bubbles like a comic book where I'm giving them scenes. I'm giving them basically writing a comic book through the VeVeVerse. And then I take this comic, I somehow lock it in some sort, and then if people want to read this comic book that I just created, they have to now pay OMI to read it or rent it or whatever it is. So I thought that'd be kind of cool. I don't know if VeVe would allow that because technically this is
Wait,
like
so actually
Marvel's.
that is a brilliant idea. So for example, if somebody wants to read this quote unquote comic book, they can go to your space and they can walk from to scene, right? Like
Well, that's one way they could do it. Yeah, if I
yeah.
create a bunch of scenes and just put them in order, like
Mm-hmm.
left, right, down, and then to the right, and just literally just put a bunch of scenes right next to each other, and then you can literally just use your avatar and just go from left to right, and yeah, I'll just have the comic book in order, and then yeah, you could.
Wow.
But like,
That's
so if
really
I lock
cool.
it behind, yeah, if I just lock it inside of like a building that I create, and then I'm able to lock it so that no one can go in unless they pay me OMI, and then they can go in and they can actually read the comic book, and then after they're done, they can leave or whatever, and I get paid. So I thought things like that would be cool, where I lock a certain area of the VeVeVerse away, so if someone comes in, they can't actually go into a certain zone unless they pay to access it. So in that sense, I'm creating a comic book action scene, and you can you can make ideas off this for whatever types of things that you think you should lock away that people can't access unless they pay to see it. So I thought that would be kind of interesting. Maybe it's a bad idea, maybe it's not, but I thought it was a good idea when I first came up with it. So
I'll say that is a very good idea. I mean, because I think people will be surprised at how talented some designers or creative people can get in how they build these experiences and these spaces to mimic different things in real life. For example, like the comic books or a scene in the Avengers Endgame movie, like the scene with Thanos and Iron Man and those kind of things. That's gonna be pretty cool.
yeah, I just thought it'd be really cool to just, create some of that. And obviously, I don't have enough collectibles to even make that happen. So you could also, let's say, I go ask Dr. Profit, hey, can I use your space to create this comic book thing?
Hmm.
I get paid a creator fee. He gets paid a fee because he's actually housing the whole thing and he's sponsoring being able to actually make it since he
Mm.
owns however many Spider-Man that's needed. Because since we can't duplicate Spider-Man, and I want to have this comic book, consistently use him over and over. Now he's getting paid because I'm using his clothes to showcase a comic that I'm creating, and then maybe VeVe takes some sort of a fee since they're the one housing all this, and they need to take percentage of all transactions that occur in the video. So like Dr. Profit gets paid, I get paid because I
Mm.
created it. People pay to go read it, and that's just one idea. I've heard several other ideas of people trying to make money in the universe, and
Yeah.
I'm sure some will fail and some will be really good.
One of the most profitable business operations in, I think it was the Centraland, or what was the other one, Sandbox or something like that, one of the metaverses, and this won't happen in VeVe, obviously, and you will know why. But what happened was some users of this metaverse that I forgot the name acquired a very nice plot of land that has a lot of traffic, and this casino or this casino business who has license to operate in a certain area in the US or something, they rented that plot of land and they organize poker events or other casino events, and they would give the owner of that land like, I don't know, like 20-25% of the total profit. So that's and that casino idea will not happen in VeVe simply because they work with Disney and those kind of things. But anyways, there's so many ways to, again, create that economic engine that will benefit multiple people in the process, from the landowner to the business operators to the folks who come into that, for example, that casino, having fun.
Yeah, and I think with scripting and things of that nature, yeah, you'll see people create different types of games events like that. Because I mean, I don't know how it works. I mean, I just don't know shit about scripting or coding, but I'm just guessing from like the way everyone's talking about it and how you can do things. So
Yeah.
let's say I script a card game where, let's say, you can just like a game of blackjack where you come in, you go play blackjack versus a dealer, and you can just like have games like that, and by scripting the opposing avatar to trigger handing you cards when you walk up to the table, and
Yeah.
then just trick and like script in how the game works.
Actually, because you mentioned like scripting, I did some research today on Roblox. Roblox is so successful because they have so many games, and most of these games are user created. So they have this whole Roblox developer school, or like program. They have a Roblox developer program, something like that. That will give you instructions, that will give you a platform and cloud storage. So guys like Brock, for example, he can come in, and if he knows programming, and they would tell you, okay, we are, in order to create games on Roblox, you have to use these 3 programming languages, and these are the guidelines on how to create the games. If you agree to create games on Roblox, and this is what happens, we will give you 25 to 30% off the revenue, and we'll take the rest because we provide the platform, we provide the cloud storage, everything else, and we'll bring the users to you. You get 25, 30%, and we get the other, we get the rest of it. And then people would create these games and experiences, and and a lot of people, a lot of the Roblox users would participate in it, and that has been one of the main elements of success for this metaverse, which has like millions of active users on a daily basis. So I know that if VeVe wants to do it, they can follow that model and actually make it happen. So it's just a matter of time, and it's just a matter of them wanting to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's kind of piggybacks how I was talking about, like the maze creator, getting a fee, and then VeVe gets the fee. VeVe, they house, the housing, all this, they're providing cloud storage, providing us the ability to do that. So yeah, they get fees. So I mean, it all checks out with me, and I think it'll come. It just, we're only a week in, and I'm sure there's like just tons of stuff coming. So
Yeah. Mr. V, do you have one last question for Stevo? Or is there anything else that you wanted to discuss?
So I think we were kind of messaging back and forth a little bit, but what's a feature that you're most anxious for with the VeVeVerse? So you've shared a lot on what is already available. We've already speculated how we could see OMI tying into the VeVeVerse. But what's something that you think is pretty simple that you're most looking forward to, and or like what your peers who are part of the beta rollout, what's something that everyone's as part of the like whether it be the like
Um,
the next layer to it or something that they know is like really or that you know is really needed.
I won't really touch on like things that I think will like change the game in the future. I'll just touch on some little things that I think are important. Being able to duplicate groups of items, to me, that's a really big deal because, for an example, I'm actually working on something, and I've been slacking the past 2 nights, but I'm trying to build a full Disney castle. I want to make a full Disney 100 celebration castle. This thing is taking me for fucking ever. It's literally just making like the front gates, the walls, and like putting like the picture cones and all this stuff. This shit is taking me really 2 hours because I have to like size everything up perfectly. It's just taking me forever just to do certain things, and I'm like, and I can duplicate shapes, but I can't duplicate multiple of them at once and be able to like group blocks of things and then move them over and duplicate it together. So I think just like being able to duplicate entire groups that I like select, that'll be like really, really helpful. So let's say I build here's another idea I want to do. I want to build a basketball court from scratch and put it on one of the platforms. Not that we can like shoot a basketball or something. Maybe it'll come in the future. Even so, I think it'll just look cool to just like put an outdoor basketball court on one of the platform stands. But let's say I want to put another one on the other side and put another platform stand. So let's say I put like a Lakers basketball court with like purple and yellow colors. But let's say I want to duplicate it. I can't duplicate the whole thing. Like I would have to build a whole another one from scratch and then do it again on the platform stand across. Because let's say I want to make like the Miami Heat basketball court on the other side. Now I got to build that whole thing from scratch. And like, sure, I can take shapes and duplicate them from like the Lakers court and bring them over one by one, but that's still very time consuming. And I think things like that, being able to cut the time in a quarter, not even, I can just duplicate big blocks of items all at once. That's gonna make the building go so much faster for everyone. So I think everyone wants that is just like grouping things together. Then some other features that I just want to see that they're not big, but it's needed and like the OMI community, like I hear you guys, like I'm part of it. I want OMI transactions, so I want accessories. I want to buy a couch using OMI. I want to buy a telescope. I want to buy a balcony. I want to buy stairs. I want to buy all this shit, and I want to use OMI to buy it. Like it's just as simple as that. And I want OMI transactions to start flowing through the VeVeVerse because we're kind of hyped up on that, from the decon demo. And when I believe everything Dan and David would say like that they're going to do. So I just want to see it hopefully come faster because I think because we already see the hype train moving right now on Twitter and Discord. People are already so hyped on the VeVeVerse. Like let's get the OMI side, let's show them some love too, and let's get the hype moving there too, and get some OMI transactions in there. So buying accessories, that's a huge deal. Being able to just buy things, I want like buy plants, buy the animals we were talking about, buy, packs of dirt and put them whatever, buy whatever it is that we want to buy. Like I want to see those only transactions take place. So there's not like game changing next level things. Those types of things seem like it's scripting and coding, and I don't even know how to do that stuff anyways. AI apparently is coming into the app later. I don't even know exactly what it's like. I don't exactly know what they're trying to do with AI, but they said that they're working with it, and
Well,
sounds like a really big deal.
maybe the AI component will allow you to instruct it to write a script to be able to create those things that you don't know.
Well, yeah, well, that's what Brock was talking about the other day. Because I was talking about it because I was telling him I don't actually know how to do any stuff like that, and he was saying, well, maybe AI will come in and you'll be able to like give it a prompt to then tell it to write a script or a code for you that you can then reverse. So maybe stuff like that will come in the future. So yeah, but I'm simple. Like I just want to see some like the little things first, and then we can move on to like the really big things that'll change the game.
Yeah. All right, guys. It's been over 2 hours, and it is almost midnight. And Stevo, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your very exciting, beta testing with the VeVeVerse, and we are both very, very eager to try it out. And you did an amazing job giving us that vision of what it looks like even though we've never seen it, and a future to look forward to, because there's so many things that we could do in here. Yeah, I remember that when we first started the podcast, we kind of made fun of VeVe because they couldn't even work. They didn't even have, well, they don't have a proper working social tool in the app. Like, you cannot text people on the mobile app. You cannot tag people. Well, you can tag people, but it's not guaranteed that they can see your message or they can interact with you again, right? There's not a whole lot of things you can do on a mobile app. But then they kind of leapfrog that to this VeVeVerse thing, and it's way, way, way better than the expectation of anybody in the community. So that's pretty amazing. And yeah, once again, thank you for sharing your insights with us. And yeah, and we look forward to joining you in your space and having you over in our space. Well, mostly Mr. V's space, because mine won't have a whole lot of things in it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't wait to have you guys over. I'll show you guys how to do stuff. It'll just be fun. Like, it's a lot of fun just being able to bring people over.
Yeah.
And then shout out to all the Army members: Maddie, Boom Boom, Gruba, Rita, Mikhail.
Yes, sir.
All of them. Love all those guys.
Yeah.
And then even the Kiwis in the VeVe Discord. But I like some of you guys too. So.
Yeah. All right. Have a good evening, guys, and let's touch base later.
All right, man. Take it easy, guys.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys.
See ya. That is it, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have enjoyed the episode today. And if you have, remember that gentleman agreement. We will continue working until 1 a.m. just for you. But in return, we ask you to subscribe to the podcast so that you don't miss out on the actionable and valuable insights, everything VeVe and OMI related. Don't forget to give us a rating and tweet at us to let us know what you think about the podcast so that we can refine the content better just for you. Thank you so much. We hope to see you again next time. Peace.